Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttatoosandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey, it's Jeff McNichol down here at Mom's Music, 1900 Melwood Avenue. I was just thinking, when I was a kid, the magic was at Frankfort Avenue, the Mom's Music at Frankfort Avenue, and I used to beg people to get a ride down there just to hang out with the guys and see all the cool gear. Now that I'm the owner of this store, it's like a dream come true. We're recreating the magic with the vibe that we used to have at the old store. We're carrying all the gear that you're going to possibly want. We're giving you the outstanding service and personal attention that you deserve. Yeah, so we've got the great guitar shop here. We're carrying USA Fender, USA Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel, anything you could possibly want, we're going to have it for you. Mom's is and always will be Louisville's music store.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I'm your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now let's get this show on the road. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Metal Forge. How are you all doing this week? I am doing amazing. We are here. It is finally here. It has came. It finally came. That little meme thing, right? Where it is Metal Fest 11. Hell yeah, out at Boondocks Event Center at 3850 Beech Grove Road. But, wait a second. No, stop. Put the brakes on, Mark. We got to tell. We got Blood of Angels here in the Metal Forge, and we're talking to them about their performance. They are closing out the Saturday night show at Metal Fest this year. Holy hell, I'm so excited because I'm going to be there right up at the front of the stage, banging my head against the stage. Metal will take its place. We will all be bonded by blood. Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out to the Bailoff there for that and Exodus. Hell yeah. Heck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's for Bobby. Fuck yeah, it's for Bobby there. So, yeah, got the guys here. We're going to be talking. I got to talk to him a couple weeks back, and I wanted to put out this special, Metal Fest Day show where we get to talk to a band that's actually playing the show this time. Not have it a couple weeks out or a couple weeks after, but actually on the start of the day. And so many awesome fucking bands are going to be playing this year. Holy hell. Let's just look at tonight right now. We've got the Hoodlums, Jim Harrelson, Boozer, Modern Primate, Slowkill, E-Flat, Two Pump Jump, Boombox Poets, Hollow Valley, Year of the Gun, and my band Overload closing out tonight. Holy shit, that is a crazy lineup. Such awesome people. And then Saturday, it's, a ton of fucking bands that day too. Dawn of Ascension, Hopewell Fault, Dilation, Devil Be My Judge, Kerr, from Lexington, Kentucky, Pharaoh Hound, Lechuga, Bastard Sons of a Judas Goat, Inner Decay, Joe Grudge, blah, Grand Shaw, Artwork for the Blind, Celestial Serpent, Eulogy in Blood, Existing in Exile, and the mighty Blood of Angels from Tampa, Florida. Hell yeah. And we're going to check in with them here in just a minute. There is also a Sunday deal where you've got Taylor Road, Kentucky Ugly, Ned, Euclid, Stranger Skies, Wretched Abyss are playing. There's so much going on. It's $25, 21 and over at Boondocks Event Center at 3850 Beech Grove Road. You need to be there. You need to donate to the good cause. This is the Jeremy Wade No Cancer Fighting Weekend. Fucking right. Metal Fest 11. So, how is everybody? Still getting some messages on the whole Pantera thing. Now that it's been confirmed that Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante are going to be a part of it, I get so many people that are like, "What the fuck is going on? What is this?" I get it, and honestly, if I were to pick two people to do it, those would probably be the two guys that I would say, hey, they probably have the clout to do it. I know Zakk does for sure, but honestly, Zakk and Dime, where they do play similar, but they are completely different. And any guitar player who will get onto this discussion will tell you that no two guitar players play the same. So there's just that. Hell yeah. So we got Jason Gardner coming back from the Heavy Metal Wasteland with, I can't even pronounce it. I feel so stupid. It's Jason, help me out. How do we pronounce this?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wasteland. I am back from Tatooine upon collecting my power inverters, and I stowed away on a freight ship back to Earth in present time, and rediscovered a band that I used to love back in the early 2010s called Svölk, spelled Svolk, from Oslo, Norway. They are a 5-piece stoner doom band with a little bit of maybe early Danzig thrown in there. They are the only self-proclaimed bare metal band in existence. So if you're into that genre, this is the band for you. I'm not sure what bare metal is, but who am I to argue if that's what they're calling themselves, and that's what I'll refer to them as. But getting back to this band, they released only 2 albums back in the early 2010 era. The first one's called Svölk, obviously a play on the Kill 'Em All title. And the second one is called Nights Under the Round Table. They were both released on Napalm Records. There's some videos from each album up on YouTube. There's a video for the song Painbringer, which I think is hilarious. I won't spoil it for you here, but you should watch it. It's pretty funny. But man, what I really like about these guys is they don't really take themselves seriously. They almost seem like a party band, but the lyrics are really deep. They make you think about stuff. Like, for instance, on the Nights Under the Round Table album, there's a song called To Conquer Death, You Only Have to Die. It's probably my favorite song by them. It's super heavy, super depressing. But, like I said, I mean, the image these guys put out versus the, lyrics they sing about is kind of like a yin and yang situation. Don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing. If you're looking for a new band, an obscure band to show your metal cred to your friends who would probably never ever hear about this band, this is a good one to check out. Or if you're looking for some southern metal with a Norwegian flair, maybe this is the band to check out. They have had a reunion show post on Facebook that I'm pretty excited about. So hopefully we'll be getting some new music from them. Maybe some shows, maybe one day a U.S. tour if all goes well. Who knows? I don't think you can go wrong with this band if you're into the heavier stuff. So yeah, just check them out. And, both albums are equal. I don't think you can go wrong starting with either one. I actually think they're probably on par production-wise with each other. And songwriting-wise also. The riff for the song Sweet Agony is probably one of my favorite riffs. It's so fucking groovy and heavy. So that's on the first one. So if you're looking for just a couple song recommendations to get started, I would go Sweet Agony. Probably To Conquer Death, You Only Have to Die off the second one. So those are 2 good places to start if you're just into checking out singles. But yeah, So that's all I got for you today. Keep it short and sweet. I know I've been kind of rambling the past few appearances I've been here on Mark's show. And as always, I want to thank him for giving me a few minutes to talk about some bands I think you all might like. And as always, guys, stay safe, stay heavy, and we will see you next time.
Sweet. Awesome stuff. Jason, thank you so much for your contribution this week. And new things are coming on the horizon. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a little bit different, but still kind of the same. You'll see what's coming up. Or actually, no, you won't. You'll hear what's coming up. Fucking right. I'm just like in this like amped up mood. I'm going to be playing tonight. It's 9,000 degrees outside and it's metal. It's heavy metal! And that's what we're here for, you know. Heavy metal madness, kicking ass and taking names. So, let's go ahead and get into this episode with Blood of Angels. This is 40-Year Journey.
Conflict is fools, the six people breaks down. Instead of illusions, they offer exclusions. Segregation gets citizens who are out. Stories say the truth, which began many wars. Ignorance best of the history, with the false odds made to be true. Foolish fear and anti-Semitism perpetuating murder. Now the victim became the oppressor without learning from the past. Stories say the truth, which began many wars. Ignorance best of the history, with the false odds made to be true. Foolish fear and anti-Semitism perpetuating murder. Now the victim became the oppressor without learning from the past.
All right, metalheads, I'm being joined from Florida this week, but not really, because they're here in Kentucky for Metal Fest. I've got Aaron and Jonathan from Florida's own Blood of Angels here. Dudes, what is going on?
Living the dream, man. That's all I could say. You know, I mean, we were at Metal Fest last year. We had a fantastic time with all the wonderful people there in Kentucky for a great cause. We auctioned off a guitar last year that we helped to add an additional close to $500 with that raffle, and we're looking to continue the effort to contribute to such an awesome cause that this is.
We pretty much sold out of all of our merch and made our contribution that way as well. It was a great time, and whenever Alan came up to us and it's like, I have to have you guys back. Could I have you back next year? And we were like, yes, 100%, because it was a great experience. The audience was incredible. All of the bands on the stage were incredible.
Oh yeah, top to bottom, high quality.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a fun show, and that was in a different place than it is this year. So, that was out in Lebanon Junction at County Line Swinging Doors. This year, it's back at its original location at the Boondocks in Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And it's totally fun, and yeah, I'm looking forward because, you know, my band's playing tonight on the Friday night show of it, and you guys are headlining Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That we are, yeah. Pretty exciting. Very exciting for us.
Hell yeah. And, you know, I cannot say anything bad about the show at all. It has been such an awesome production over the 11 years that it's been there. And, you know, Alan has, you know, he's done a lot for the community and for just the memory of his friend Jeremy Wade No, you know, just super rad. I'm glad that, like, you know, we have something like that here that we can fall back on.
Oh yeah. No, it's a wonderful thing for the area, and it seems like such a strong community outreach. And, you know, and that's how we felt last year. And even this year, you know, when I got the flyer and I posted on the page, on our page, and did some advertising targeting, you know, the Shepherdsville / Louisville area. I mean, just a wonderful response to some of the messages we got of some of the people that are, you know, not only excited to have us back, but excited to really attend this event and to make it yet again another memorable one. And that gets our juices flowing as well.
Hell yeah.
The sense of community, and I mean, just, it's almost like all these people that we've never met before, but by the end of the day, we all feel like family. It was an incredible experience last year. I really look forward to this year. I mean, it was so much so that, I mean, people would be offering food and drink, you know, says, hey, we don't have much, but hey, you know, join us, you know.
I remember the first day of Friday, you know, when things started kicking off, you know, we were, you know, we do what we do. The cool thing that I love about, you know, my brothers here, you know, with a Blood of Angels is that, you know, we don't hide, we don't do backstage. So we had our beer and we were going around and shaking hands and meeting people and getting to know the other bands and other people attending and just meeting people. You know, I mean, I remember one guy, you know, I shook his hand and he's like, "Oh yeah, I heard about you guys from Florida, man. Hey, you want some pizza? We got some pizza here. You guys hungry and everything?" And it was really cool because, you know, I mean, we just we drove, completely the Thursday night before, like all night. We got to the grounds at about like 11 a.m. and, didn't really have time for any of that. So, I mean, the kindness of strangers, as you'd say, has been more prevalent there than any other place that I could say that I've experienced in a similar atmosphere.
Right.
Yes.
And, last year was so hot. Like, the weather was so ridiculously hot. Like, I know.
Even for us being in like humid, hot Humidville, where we live, it still kicked our ass a little bit, I would say.
Oh, right.
Yeah, my skin tone definitely was a different color.
Yeah.
Coming back in, and I live in Florida. I've been here my whole life, and yeah, I definitely came back a darker shade.
Right. Well, there's nothing like, I don't think there's anything like the Midwest summers here in the Kentucky area. They're just so humid, and it's just blah. There's no escape.
I mean, as hot as it is down here in the deep South, you're absolutely right. It is a little different. It is quite different. Just short tidbit. A few years ago, I played a festival in Michigan, and here I am, Florida guy, thinking, "Oh, Michigan, big deal. This ain't gonna be hot." So I go on stage. I went on at like 4 p.m, full black jeans and boots and everything. After I was done with the set, I crawled under a semi-trailer that was, in the backstage area to get away from the damn sun. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I almost got heat stroke in Michigan. I mean, that's just like saying I almost got frostbite in Egypt.
Right. For sure. So, looking forward to that, absolutely. Tell everybody out in Metal Forge land about Blood of Angels.
Okay. Blood of Angels originally started in late 2015, like October 2015. Originally, the idea, I had a band called Foreshadow that I had for 8 years, and we did a couple albums, and we did a lot of things. We got to tour in South America, and we toured all over the U.S. and Canada with that band. I got to, and and it was just after the 8 years and everything, and that band, it was just time to call it a day. It really ran its course. I was kind of about to really take a break from music, but then I got a phone call from a friend of mine, Steve Veninga, out in California, who was asking me what I was doing musically, and I told him I just kind of ended the band. I was going to take a break for a while. He's like, "Oh no, you can't do that," and he gave me this whole, coach before going into the Super Bowl, pep talk speech. He's like, "Oh, dude, man, you got the skills, you got writing, man, you got to come up and do something else." And I was like, well, I do have all these songs that I was going to do, a third Foreshadow album for. So originally I was just going to kind of keep it as a studio project, something to do on the side. And I left it that way. And then what happened is, I came across some of these awards, independent music award shows. And I started putting the original single, Odin's Wrath, out there on internet radio and things. And it was tracking. It was doing pretty good. I was getting a little attention for that. The big one was the Independent Music Award in 2018 that was up in New York. And we ended up being nominated for it. So I flew up there for the award show. And then we actually ended up winning Best Hardcore and Metal Song that year at the Independent Music Awards up in New York. And after that, I started getting hit up by booking agents and record labels and things like that. And I'm like, okay, this is getting for real. And also, I'm not a young man either. So it was kind of like, I either go for it now or I shut the hell up and forever hold my peace. And to really go for it, the other guys that I had in the band at the time really weren't committed that way. I had to tap my friends that I know that were really, really committed musicians, because it was really time to move it to the next level. So the first person, of course, I hit up was Jonathan, who's here with us, the drummer, and asked him if he was interested in making another record and doing this, and he gladly accepted, and we did that. And then I got a hold of Maggot, who was playing bass. The final thing was a vocalist, and I really didn't know any singers or anything at the time. But the guy at the time, we were practicing at a friend of Jonathan's house, who turned out to be Randy. He had a room that he let bands kind of jam in the back, and that's where we were practicing. And we were talking about like needing a new vocalist, and he was like, "Can I give it a try?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So, he kind of does a karaoke version of a Mushroom Head song, and he sings both vocal parts, incredibly, very well. And I was like, well, if you want to do this, man, you got the gig. So he jumped in on it, and basically the rest is history. And, since then we put out the album, The Failure of Faith. We've been on a Black Sabbath compilation that was released in Europe. Also recently a Motorhead compilation that was done in Europe. And our recent release that is going to be our first one on our brand new record label that we signed with Biohazardous Records, which a few of the bands like Slow Kill and 3DR and Pharaoh Hound
very familiar
are also
with,
going to be part of Metal Fest.
Very familiar with Biohazardous and Dave. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the single we just did, Spillage, is going to be our first release with them. And then we'll be working on a new album coming
Definitely.
up.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called the Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is the Wrestling Steve Show. And I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
Hey metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby. I'm seeing here on the Metal Archives, and I kind of consult them a lot, even though there is that whole Wikipedia falseness to some things on here, because people are just reporting as they go. But yeah, it shows here that, of course, that y'all started in 2015. The Rise of the Fallen Gods EP was 2017, but 2020 was when Failure of Faith came out.
Right.
And it was late in 2020 when it came out. So
yeah, October 2020, yeah.
Definitely. So with that being, a couple of years old now, and obviously we know the state of everything with it, like tours and such, was getting together, recording that, was it something that happened because of the pandemic, or were you already in the process of doing that?
But we were already in the process of doing that. Actually, when the pandemic hit, we were only about 2 songs away from finishing the album.
Okay.
So we recorded the last 2 songs, and then sent everything off to the record label that we had at the time, Slip Trick Records, and then they released it in early October 2020. I think it's October 4th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So now you've got the follow-up written, and are you is it already recorded?
Oh, the follow-up? No. We just have recorded a single.
Okay.
It's a kind of a fun story with the single of Spillage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's how it goes. There's the Metal Deli podcast. It gets syndicated also into a few internet radio stations, and I think a couple of FM stations in Chicago. The hostess there was playing one of our songs, Monotheism, on her show pretty regularly. There was a band in Chicago who's called Spillage, and they wrote a song called Blood of Angels. So she thought it would be a cool idea, since us being Blood of Angels, if we write a song called Spillage, and came to us with the idea. And then the idea, and once we have it released, she was gonna bring us up to Chicago, that we would play a show with the band Spillage. And we listened, and Spillage is a really killer band. They have like a very power metal, like kind of reminiscent of like Dio a little bit. And the Blood of Angels song, it's a very beautiful song, well sung, well arranged, very kind of acoustic. It definitely has that cool ebb and flow between like power metal heaviness and some of the melodic acoustic stuff, and it's a really beautiful song. And of course, us being the style of band we took it completely in the opposite direction, making something that is kind of the Frankenstein of Pantera and Cradle of Filth.
That is amazing. So
that's where that single came from. We also thought it'd be a good idea to get a new release of a new original song with our new label before we jump into next year, fully focused on doing our next album. And so far, the title we got would be the Les Anques de Pantano, which is an amalgamation of French, German, or Scandinavian, because Ov, could be used Norwegian or Swedish or Danish, and then Pantano is Greek. So basically, it translates within the 4-language amalgamation, the fear of death.
Nice. With that, I mean, obviously, as they say, for like the wheels of justice turn slowly, they do for a lot of music as well, because there's bands out there that they're religiously on the deal of they'll do an album every 2 years. With you guys in your camp, I mean, how do you go about the process of I guess putting out something?
We're pretty streamlined mostly. Putting something the business side. I'll clarify the question a little bit. Putting something on the business side, or the process of writing.
The process of writing to getting everything like, okay, this is where we know this is an album. How do you get to that point?
Okay. So far in the writing process, as usually if we've come up with a general concept and a theme. I mean, with the first EP, Rise of the Fallen Gods, it was originally intended to be a full-length album. And the original idea is that it was going to be 3 songs poking on different polytheistic mythologies. What ended up being was just the 3 songs based on Norse mythology. I also had 3 songs based on Greek mythology, also 3 songs of Roman mythology. A cool instrumental in there, and that was going to be like the full album of it. But I was only really able to get the guys in the lineup at the time just to be able to commit to the 3 songs, because they had other paths of their life they wanted to continue on. So I just released it as an EP. And the Failure Faith, of course, was the concept of that basically, only so an album, we took the 3 big religions, monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, And the first half of the album really talks about the concept on how these faiths really came into being chronologically. Like the first song is monotheism, talks about the idea from many polytheistic religions, of course, that were going around in the world, the ancient world at the time, to the idea of the singular God. I know Zoroastrianism was actually the first monotheistic religion, but Zoroastrianism really didn't have a global impact, so I just went straight to Judaism. And then we did a song about basically a 40-year journey, the idea of Moses and, the travel of the 40 years and how Judaism basically in the Old Testament came to form.
Right.
Blood of the Lamb is actually the questioning of Jesus's actual existence and Christianity in general and its validity. The Messenger is basically, I talk about, Muhammad and Islam, basically how in the first part, and the song's broken up a little bit, in the first verse is how, the story of Muhammad, how he got the message from Gabriel, etc., and how he went to Mecca and told the scholars, basically the story of it. And then, of course, then I also bring up kind of the point that how it's interesting that he supposedly died in 450, but the first Quran was never produced until 490. Why the 40-year gap? Legit question, And then the second half of the album, it goes into like some of the things that religion has inflicted on man to create chaos and, and a lot of senseless violence. The Crusaders, I try to wrap up, 200 years of war in a 7.5 minute song. Tried my best. It's a lot of detail, but I think we covered it well. The King of Hops is about the Protestant Reformation. The reason why it's called the King of Hops is because that was Martin Luther's nickname in seminary school because of his love of beer. So I called it the King of Hops. I go into Disastrous Supremacy, which is a song about how basically the ideology of a singular racial superiority and a singular idea of theology is never good for global society. Not one race is superior, not one religion is superior. So that song gets into that. And then the album closes out with America's Mythologies, which I talk about the religions that mostly based on Christianity that were created here in America. And I poke after the big ones, which is the Jehovah's Witness. I had a verse about the Jehovah's Witness. I do a verse about Scientology, and I do a verse about the Mormons.
Definitely.
So that's the concept of the failure of faith. Is basically questioning, the legitimacy of organized religions and their claims as to be fact without any really proof backing it up that it is fact.
For sure, and I think in today's society, where this is 2 years ago, and more than 2 years ago, including the writing process for the release and everything, I think in today, current, July 2022 is possibly more on point than ever. Yeah. I mean, I would say so. I mean, to some degree, we're starting to see the slow eroding of rights based on nothing but the dogmatic interpretation of one's religion, and even not the big grand scale of religion. It's just one small passage, not an actual gospel, kind of an offshoot idea. Right. Misinterpreted. I mean, the list goes on, but it's being taken as, dogmatic holy truth. And again, these are the things that kind of concern me. I agree with George Carlin. I think kind of made a point. It's like, I'm all fine. I love individuals and I love individual thought and individual thinking. But people, when I get a little worried is when people gather in groups and wear similar hats and the same armbands and chanting the same message, like mindless thinking robots. That I think that's when things get a little scary, when mob rule takes over. And yes, I agree with you 100% on that, and with George on that. I mean, there is still so much of his stand-up that is so valid today, and he's been gone since 2008. And even stuff that he was calling to arm and action in the 80s and 90s that still hold true today. Very much so. Very much so. And I notice here on the Metal Archives as well that you kind of glossed over something here with the album release. You also do a cover of I Don't Need Religion.
Yeah, that's on the Failure of Faith album, yeah.
Which anybody who knows me personally knows I'm a huge Motorhead fan, so hell yeah. I love it when people...
Great.
Obviously, I don't think anybody can do... My band has done a Motorhead song, and I don't think anybody can do any justice to doing Motorhead but Motorhead. But, you know, still...
Fair enough.
It's nice to have people who are, you know, who dig them too.
Yeah. Well, it was the first recording I got to do since Lemmy passed away. And you know, I wanted to do a Motorhead song, like kind of as a tribute to, you know, one of my biggest influences and heroes, but also at the same time find a song that fit what we were doing theme wise with the album as well. And of course I came across that one, and that was definitely the one that checked off both boxes.
Oh, absolutely. Hell yeah. So, dudes, I'm definitely looking forward to your performance tomorrow at Metal Fest. You know, if you're in the Louisville, Kentucky, Shepherdsville, Kentucky area, it is out at the Boondocks. Obviously, links for that show will be listed below. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code MetalForge10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
Hey, it's Mark Maxwell at Maxwell's House of Music. Listen, all this stuff is now available to purchase on our website. Check it out at maxwellshouseofmusic.com.
We carry all the top brands, like Fender.
We got Gibson.
We also have basses.
We've got ukuleles.
We got drums.
We've got sound gear.
We've got keyboards.
It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast. We're on season 2, so you have a whole season to get weird with Frank Green and Scott Clark. The best part is there's always laughter.
Oh, yeah, you need to pull that out.
We have national touring comedians, NFL stars, rock stars, your local friends. It always gets weird. Weird answers.
Have y'all ever snorted coke off of a 78 Pinto? No? You ain't no man.
Weird questions.
Who had a bigger cocaine habit, Jock Sutherland or Kaywood Ledford?
Neither one, because they stopped beating their wives.
And weird we never even thought of.
Well, no. My friend is on acid, and I sent my friend to go find a payphone so that I can call and turn myself in for murdering this guy and ruin my life.
We love all types of people, but we don't love all people.
Weird. It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast, available everywhere. And thank you to Big X Sports Radio for being a proud sponsor of It's Gonna Get Weird. Frank Green, Scott Clark. Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get into some general profile questions for you guys.
Sure.
So, the last few weeks, I've told everybody here who's a fan of the show and listening that I just recently got 100 new questions, and at least for some time, there's not going to be any repeats. So,
well, that's a good thing, you know.
That is an absolute.
Interesting.
And they're on a deck of cards that I constantly reshuffle. So even if I go through and look at, say, hey, that might be a really good question, how would I answer that? I shuffle it up so I don't know where it goes.
So it's even a mystery for you.
It is. So
I like it.
What's that?
I like that.
Definitely. So these are questions. They're based on anything. They could be life. They could be, music, movies, podcasts. They could be anything. So first question, who is someone that you would like to trade places with for a day?
I think for me, I think Dave Murray and Iron Maiden. Yeah, I really would. I really would love to, go on stage knowing that the crowd out there, 100% certainly, every one of those 40,000 plus people out there, which is pretty much their average attendance, is just dying to hear what I'm going to play without going, I don't know these people, let's see what they got. So I think that would actually be a cool thing. Where everybody knows like everything you're doing and all singing along and that energy. And I don't know, I think it would be incredible. And the reason why I just picked Dave is because, he's my personal favorite style wise in Iron Maiden. So
I can agree with that.
Yeah. All three, Adrian's great. Yanni is great. It's just for me, Dave is just, I kind of identify with his style of playing more than the other two.
Well, before we get into Jonathan's answer for this, I'd like to reply to you really fast on that. Okay. You know what? With Dave, I've seen them several times, and he is always in the moment. He's smiling on stage. He, for even it being metal, I think power metal gets a pass. You can smile on stage too. And
yeah, you can. Yeah.
He just looks like he wants to be there. And everything I've ever seen of him in video interviews or anything like that, he just seems like a real jovial guy who just wants to be there and he enjoys what he does.
Yeah, most definitely.
And let's face it. Aside from Nico, who came in later than everybody else, he's the only member that really hasn't ever quit.
Yeah, no, I know. No, he's been there. Yeah, almost since the beginning, right?
Yeah, I think he's
77. I know he's been on every album. Yeah, him and Steve are the only two.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. I like that. So, what do you have, Jonathan?
Well, I've been digging deep and really thinking hard, and that kind of a question, it's one of those things. The way that my mind works, I never really have looked at anybody in particular, talent-wise, ability-wise, recognition or anything like that, that I really, I guess the word would be envy or hey, I would like that experience. I basically just look at things that I'm impressed with that, and if I work hard enough, I'll be able to achieve that. Definitely. But not on a personal level, toward that individual person, because it's talent wise and ability wise and things like that. It's scattered about from a multitude of people and all different walks. So it would be a collective. So yeah, there's not a singular answer to that one for me.
Definitely. I could get behind that too, because, right, everybody has their own path and everybody does their own thing. So, and viewing it objectively and saying if I put in the work, I could do that. Yeah, I could get that too.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. Are you related to anyone famous or historical? If so, who is it?
I know I have an ancestor, Alistair Robinson, from the late 19th century. I wouldn't say he was a poet, and he won a Pulitzer for his poetry. I guess probably scholars of poetry may know of him.
Okay.
I don't know how deep that goes, but that is an accomplishment from an ancestor like that.
Hell yeah. Maybe it's a passed down or a hereditary gene or something, and you got the writing from him.
Yeah, maybe
that's quite possible.
Yeah, maybe that's why I go with song lyrics.
Right.
Yeah.
On my end, not that I'm aware of. Not that any other family has divulged or explained.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, because it's like, for me, I don't think I'm necessarily related to anybody, but I know like my grandmother, my dad's mom, had she knew Harry Truman, and she fed Sunday dinner to John Dillinger. But it's like,
nice.
yeah, like after
great bank robber.
yeah. But like actually being related to people, like no, I don't know of anybody that I'm related to. So I get what you mean. It's like I think as generations go on, a lot of that is it's either A, forgotten, or just not talked about, and then it's forgotten.
Yeah.
Name something on your to-do list that never gets done.
Working out. Exercise is always on my to-do list. Everything else comes up in life, and I got to get this done. I got to put in my guitar practice time. I got emails. I got this. Now I got to go make money. Yeah, working out never gets done. At least with me lately.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say on my end would definitely be do and complete all the yard work and have the pool up and running and everything ready to have like the band and friends over for the weekend. It only gets done in sections, little piece by piece. But with a busy schedule, working and everything with the band and other side projects, front yard gets done, so that looks good on the roadside, but not the backyard. And that's where everything happens.
Right. Well, the roadside, the front yard, that's the one that the city comes in and bitches at you for.
Exactly.
So that has to get done.
Or the neighbors are like, is everything okay? Your yard is atrocious.
Right.
Yeah, I found that one with a simple $40 a month at my place.
Right.
Had somebody else come and take care of it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, your yard's a lot bigger than mine, so it'd be a lot more than $40. I guarantee that.
Oh yeah.
And
it's $40 for the front yard.
Yeah.
Right. No kidding. But with what Aaron had said as well is yes, working out is another thing. I'm the same way. And I really got to do something because last year at Metal Fest, I seriously felt like I died on stage. It was so hot, and I'm just like so like overweight. It's like, oh my God,
I'm not overweight, and I felt the same way. Don't feel bad.
I think when we played, I think I dumped about almost a case of water on my head during the whole set. It's every song I'm dumping enough. I'm not drinking the water. I'm just dumping it on me just to cool myself down and
as it steams off.
It only was a half-hour set on top of that. So Jesus.
Right. Oh my gosh. I'm definitely buying a high power fan. Before,
I'm so glad. I'm so happy we're playing Saturday night. I really am.
I seriously hope that it's cool this whole weekend. I really do because I've played the nighttime slot like 10 and 11 o'clock at night on either the Friday or the Saturday, and it sometimes feels like it's just as hot.
Yeah.
So
the sun's not beating down on you, but the air still hasn't had a chance to cool.
Exactly.
Yep.
True.
What was the worst time you ever put your foot in your mouth, and what did you say?
Oh, I know I have. I got to try to remember something, though. I know I have, though.
I try to keep my mouth shut as much as possible. Because my thoughts, I know, will get me in trouble.
Well, that's because you're a drummer, and that's what drummers... No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's what drummers do.
I put it on the drums.
Oh, wow.
I'm just gonna. I mean, honestly, I know I have. I just can't recall it. Honestly, I just can't really recall a time. But I'll honestly admit that I have done that. I know I've done that. I'm just trying to. I just don't recall a story right now that that I could really tell what I have. But I'll admit that I have.
Definitely. What is something that you don't mind paying more money for?
Good quality food.
I agree with that. Beer,
fresh vegetables, things like that. Yeah.
Right.
Beer, liquor, things like that. Really good drink, really good food.
Yeah, I need to have my Jack number 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as a matter of fact,
as the well whiskey, you know what I mean?
As a matter of fact, right now,
Kentucky.
out of where we're from, Ybor City, Tampa, is this Coppertail, and we're actually indulging in their night swim. It's a porter, so it's not cheap, but it's a very enjoyable beer.
Yeah.
So I don't mind paying a little extra for something really good and enjoyable, especially if I'm going to share it with my bandmates.
Definitely.
Which he does regularly, which is awesome.
Yeah, I noticed last year you guys were really drinking. You're really putting it.
We're a band of Dionysian. Basically, we celebrate life. I mean, even though we're a band of atheists, I'd say if we were gonna pick one, it would be Bacchus, the god of wine, which would basically be the god of all things fun and everything in Roman mythology.
I need to get those that headdress from back in the day,
with the grapes and the
grapes and the leaves on the crown of the head. Yeah.
We'll do that while Beethoven's Pines of Rome is playing behind you.
That'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Got Fantasia going on.
Nice. What do you do when you want to get out of your own head? How do you do that?
I write music. I'll lock myself in my studio. I'll get on the keys. I'll turn off the world and start with one note. Whichever note just calls out to me, just lights up. And just keep doing it until I kind of snap out of that stage, and then I hit play and I've orchestrated a song.
Definitely.
For me, it's just putting everything behind and just getting out of the house. And depending on my mood, it depends on what I do. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a big Disney theme park person. I love it. It's something that's got actually psychologically, it's definitely a vestige from my childhood. I went the first time when I was 8 years old and with my mom and my grandmother and fell in love with the place. And it's, and it's something that I just repeat over and over again because it's just where I've had a lot of the happiest times with my family growing up. So I continue to repeat that to get the same experience, which I successfully do. Sometimes I need to go back in the nature. There's a lot of wonderful hiking trails and a lot of rivers around here. I'll just go on a trail and walk and hike it for 6 miles. Oh, very much so. Sometimes I just go downtown and I need to feel the history and the roots of where I am. So I'll go to the historic Ybor City, and walk the footsteps of the founders who came, the Cuban immigrants who fled Spanish rule and came to America to seek their own business and fortune. And that was the city they built out of it, and the cigar industry, and walk the same footsteps of the ancestors that, that brought the city into being. And it just all depends on my mood at the moment and what works for that period of time. I have various things, but basically in general is just to put everything behind, get out of the house, and go explore and enjoy.
Hell yeah. And see, that's what it's all about right there. Is doing that stuff that makes you feel complete like that.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
Balance.
Yeah, you have to have it.
Gotta have balance.
Definitely. Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soulgrinder Zine, an independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. So, as always, links are listed below, so please give these guys a like, a share, and a follow. Please check out anything you can within Bandcamp, any kind of website, Spotify, YouTube, all places where you can find Blood of Angel stuff. Please check it out. Do you guys have any shout-outs you want to give before we go today?
I'm going to give a shout out to Dave Wright over at Biohazardous Records. Since we've started partnering with him, he's been nothing but gracious and incredibly wonderful with us, and we're incredibly honored to be part of such an awesome record label with such awesome talent. And just, I mean, I've never worked with anybody that responds with such care, honesty, and I'll just go with care and honesty. I had another adjective for the moment, but of course that was positive as well. But understanding really of us as artists and how we feel and how we think. We always feel we can go to him with anything, and and he gives us 110%. So which in turn makes us want to give him 110% at the same time. So big thank you to him. Particularly. Also, Preston DiCarlo, who's at Modern Audio Works, who's been our engineer now for a few singles and the Feeling of Faith album, and will continue on with us into the next album. He's been basically the fifth member of the band, has really guided us recording-wise, and has really done most wonders to help us. I want to give a big shout out to Rick and Heather at the Brass Mug here in Tampa, Florida, who gave us our first opportunity on stage and has always been wonderfully supportive, not just of us, but many talented bands in the Tampa area. As we've launched, the Brass Mug is kind of famous. It's the launching hub of many famous bands that you all may know, like Cannibal Corpse and Obituary and Morbid Angel. Just like us, they all got their beginnings at the Brass Mug. They've kept that flame going. Continued that flame going, and the place has been in business for over 50 years, promoting rock and metal. DSI, yeah, another one to throw in there. Shout out to Steve. Nick for the awesome merch at Precision Merch, and on a personal note, just want to give love to Ada and Greg Robinson, my parents, who have been supportive of me on this journey since day one, which I know is a very rare thing in the kind of music that we do, but love them dearly. And my beloved wife, Barbara, who not only, has been a supportive partner for me personally, but also of this band, and has been there, bringing her professional photography work and her energy and love into the project as much as I have as a guitarist and songwriter.
Hell yeah.
I would like to thank, well, first, especially because of the event, Ellen Ashball, an incredible guy with just an incredible heart, and basically, without him, events like this wouldn't be happening, and this community and family, as we spoke about before, wouldn't exist. It would, but it'd be broken apart, and it wouldn't be as together as it is. So, a big thanks to him, because, next year, there better be a next year. I can't wait to do it again.
It'll probably be the one show we'll do next year, because we'll be busy on the record, but if you would like to have us back, we'll be glad to do it.
Writing and recording all 2023, but if that's the only gig we do, that'll be the one we do.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. My mother and father, even if they didn't fully understand me, and fully understand what I was doing with music. They always knew that it was a passion and how much it meant to me. So I have had their support, and I do have a lot of close friends that are musicians that have been there for me, and helped me, keep moving forward. There's too many to mention, to be honest, because if I start now, then it'll just keep going.
Right.
and then that's a totally another interview. So
that's a whole new episode.
We'll sit here for another hour.
Yeah, so I will leave it at that. Just blanket, friends that are musicians and friends that are musicians that I consider family. Everybody knows who they are.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's really all the biggest. Yeah.
Absolutely. And definitely I could get behind that. So, final question of the day. So, in mainstream media today, what do you believe is the most misrepresented with metal?
Well, I do have an answer to that.
Yeah, I do too. Go ahead, my friend.
Would be that anything that's metal, anything with distorted guitars, anything with fast drumming, and anybody who not only plays it and performs it, but the people who listen to it are worshiping the devil, Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub. To me personally, I don't worship anything at all, and I thoroughly enjoy all forms of metal, actually all forms of music. I'm very eclectic in my musical taste, from classical music, jazz, blues, all generations of it all. I don't worship anything. Now, I would say there are bands that the subject matter is based on satanic rituals or, different things that are evil. But once again, like I've been saying throughout the interview, balance. So, you can talk about all this good stuff. Well, there's also bad stuff. There's positive and negative energy in the world. And without one or the other, you don't have balance. So, but the misconstrued, the misrepresentation is that blanketed everything across the board that has any elements of anything in the music, it must be Satan worship, and it's not.
Definitely.
My answer, and I've come across this a few times, is the commentary that I've gotten from people is that some people have said, I'd love to come to your show, but I'm the wrong color. Usually I get that sometimes from people of African American or, sometimes Latinos, is the fact that this genre of music is a white music only, which is nothing further from the truth. The biggest band in metal arguably is Metallica, with a Mexicano and on bass, and the lead guitar player of Kirk Hammett being half Filipino. Slayer, one of the heaviest bands of all time, which I used to find funny when I saw fans of guys with swastikas tattooed on their chest cheering Slayer, with the vocalist being of El Salvadorian descent and the drummer being from Cuba. Where you have Scott Ian, also with the same fans cheering for Anthrax, where Scott Ian comes from Jewish family. Right. So, and those are the biggest bands of thrash. Not only, Charlie Benante's half Jewish, half Italian.
And Joey Belladonna.
There's a rainbow of eclecticity in metal, and it is open to all. I think that barrier is slowly being broken down. I've seen sometimes of our local shows that I've enjoyed seeing LGBTQ people who love metal are coming to our shows. I've seen some trans people at our shows, which they're coming in and being greeted openly by other fans that are cisgender, heterosexual, white males or females. That to me is the truth of metal, and I think the inclusivity that our community truly is needs to be put on the forefront, and not just the fact that of course we are majority, the majority of musicians out there are white male, true, but it does go deeper than that, and everybody who is an outsider, who's a misfit, who doesn't think in the conformist way of our society, is always welcomed. New fan, old fan, you're always welcomed in at the door as a brother, a sister, a non-binary, however you identify yourself, however you like to be. There is room in metal for all.
I totally agree with that.
I agree as well. And honestly, that's pretty well the sticking point. And I don't think that I could have any reply back to that would be as on point as it should be.
Yep.
Right on.
So,
right on. Yeah.
So with that, Aaron, Jonathan, thank you guys for coming into the Metal Forge this week. Don't forget, Metal Fest is this weekend. So please, if you're in the area, come out, check these dudes out. They kick fucking ass. And you'll see a bunch of bands there, because I think there's over 60 bands or some shit. So
yeah,
come hang out with us.
Yeah, come out, come hang out, come have a beer, come enjoy this thing that we call metal and the shit that we love to do.
Right on, man.
Community, family.
That's what it's all about.
Hell yeah.
Balance. Yep.
Hell yeah. So, off of Failure of Faith, what are we going to play out today?
We can go with, I'd say let's go with a song that is recently gaining traction on Spotify, doing pretty well off the album.
Yeah.
Let's kick this off with The Messenger.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. You heard them. This is The Messenger. Hey, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of The Metal Forge. I want to take a minute to remind you guys about the Patreon page. Over on the Patreon page, we have the tiers set up to support the production of the show. We feature the Down and Dirty, which is just $1. There's nothing special for that one, it just sends me a thank you because every dollar helps. Then there's the Double Down and Dirty. Much akin to the Down and Dirty tier, everything helps produce the show in the end. You make your presence known, and I appreciate that more than you realize. Thank you for being a dedicated friend and supporter to the Metal Forge. By selecting that tier, you will receive some cool Metal Forge stickers in your mailbox. Now, we're really going to start pounding the metal madness with the Apprentice Metalhead for just $5 a month. By becoming an Apprentice Metalhead, you'll be given early access to the shows, published 24 hours before everyone else gets it. You're also going to receive 3 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You're also going to receive a 10% discount on all Metal Forge merch, and you're going to receive a sweet Metal Forge patch for your battle jacket or backpack. And now, here is the big one. This is the Master Metalhead for just $10 a month. By becoming a Master Metalhead, you will receive a hand-numbered Metal Forge Master Metalhead membership card. You're going to be given early access to the shows as well, with 36 hours before everyone else. You're going to receive 5 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You'll be able to submit audio questions that I will use on the show of you asking questions to the upcoming guests. Remember, timing is everything, and you will need to keep up with the upcoming guest list on the website. You're also going to receive advanced knowledge of any new merch coming out and be given a 25% discount on all Metal Forge merch. And you're also going to get all of the other rewards from the other tiers. So visit patreon.com/Metal Forge Radio today and help support the Metal Forge. Rock on.